Welcome to the Compass Audiocast. I'm your host, Hawa Kambian. Prepare to revisit the compassionate wisdom many of us heard in our youth so that we can mindfully apply it to reimagine a future of work that we can all shape for the better. Welcome back to another episode of the Compass Audiocast. Thank you so much for being here. I can hardly believe that we are on episode 15 already. So with that, let's jump into today's quote. Think before doing something just to impress others. So what this meant to me in childhood, and to throw another quote in here, it sort of meant that pride comes before fall, and essentially that it's important to be honest about my own motivations and my behaviors. What it meant when I started working is that in work life, this took on more of a flavor of acknowledging people pleasing and being able to understand what that looks like for myself personally, in a team, and within a broader organization itself. So, there are many directions in which I want to take this conversation. And we've been talking a lot about systems, and people pleasing to impress others is something that I have felt across a systems level. So let's dive into a story that I've referenced before, and it continues to highlight how scarcity and lack were able to paint situations that were not a fit for me as something quite different. In my Fail Lab story, I talked about taking on a country-level position that was coveted, high profile, and even #impressive. For sure, it looked good. It ticked the boxes on paper. It was a step up in visibility, exposure, and different career experiences that had the potential to grow my skill set and even open doors for the future, as cliche as that sounds. And even my response to impressive situations has ramifications for internal politics, because in those moments, I have the potential to be seen as more of a team player when I say yes and roll with what an organizational culture is seeking from me. And the flip side of that is being seen as less ambitious if I am to decline such offers, even if it's for very sound and self-aware reasons. So the challenge here with being in that quote unquote impressive role was that while on paper my ego was ready to go, my reality looked much different. The environment I was in had a scattered approach to setting and achieving goals. And with the position I had taken on, it meant that I was in the eye of the confusion storm. And frankly, my internal nervous system could not disdain that, despite how impressive it might have looked on the outside. The challenge with operating in that kind of reality was that my real goal was to structure a more direct pathway towards career development for me and business growth for the organization. And that is actually made really difficult when I was drained by the operational culture. And I was also in conflict with the tools that were being put in place to make my life easier in the role. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe so that these messages can reach and support professionals and leaders as they make progress towards their goals. So let's get into bridging between the space that I was in and the space where I desperately wanted to be. So at my most negative, there were 3 experiences that I felt very deeply. So firstly, I was confused most of the time about what to actually do and received a fair amount of conflicting information about how restricted and specific I had to be on one hand, but also about how I should also do whatever it takes to get results on the other hand. Secondly, I was overwhelmed by the volume of requests that were coming through and the limited resources, including time and people, available to complete these requests well. To do them, sure, they would definitely get done, but quality and speed are variables which create very different types of results in organizations. And then, lastly, the lack of support while in this role eventually seeped into my motivation to show up. So my perception and experience was that there was little interest in improving the systems and streamlining the strategy so that things could actually work. And that made it hard to get up in the morning facing the same challenges day after day. Man, where I desperately wanted to be. I did say in the beginning of this episode that some part of me took on the role to be impressive. And my goal is to be honest about the fact that it worked for my ego. However, an equally important part of me took on that role because I was seeking opportunities to boost my confidence around meaningful skills and leadership I could learn, to contribute to the strategy of how things were being done so that it was more effective, repeatable, and scalable. All the things we hear about forward-thinking and innovative businesses wanting to be, and to also enable the business to make tangible progress based on their clear and aligned goals. And this kind of opposition between the negativity I was feeling and where I really wanted to be is really important for a couple of reasons. And hopefully, if you've been listening to us for a few episodes, you will know how important human psychology is for our lives, work included. And it can be dangerous to separate our kind of biological or natural psychology and our cultural or our nurtured psychology when we're understanding what people need to thrive in the workplace. So you may be listening and think, fine, maybe everything I've shared up until this point sounds quite standard and routine for most workers around the world. But should it? Why are we normalizing environments that keep us from positive experiences of building our careers and contributing? Why don't we believe that being able to show up at work like that is possible? If we go a level deeper, what happens when this mindset is being held by leaders who would ideally be setting an example and removing roadblocks for work to flow and people to grow? What happens when those leaders are contributing to the roadblocks, knowingly or unknowingly, or doing so from a place of wanting to impress others more than shared collaboration, solutions, and growth? And let's dig one level deeper than that. What about the organization that takes on new initiatives and ambitious plans to be impressive, with almost no plan for how to communicate, organize, and manage itself effectively and sustainably? You can see how a mindset of being impressive over being effective can soon spiral into something that people never intended. The future of work will balance our ambitions for growth with clear and effective plans to do so. So, what to do when there's more of a focus on being impressive rather than being effective in your career, in your teams, in your businesses? First, check in. Trust me, even if it takes you a while to start doing the inner reflection on whether you're being impressive or effective, your body will probably send you a few signs. Symptoms of stress, anxiety, burnout, or even depression can show up in many different ways, affecting your appetite, your mood, your memory, and sleep, to mention a few. Pay attention to patterns of feeling unwell so that you can begin to question where you're showing up for the sake of being impressive or pleasing others. Second, ask for help. This can be one of the most humbling, vulnerable, and life-changing things you can do. To be fair, we are all at different and have had different experiences in life that have shaped who we are and how we develop. You can tell a lot about a person, place, or situation based on the response given when you actually seek help, especially from those who are in a role that is meant to provide just that. It also doesn't hurt to come forward with suggestions and recommendations and see how seriously they are taken or not. Third, redefine impressive. Just like how your favorite music when you were 10 is probably not your favorite music at age 25, it is natural to evolve and redefine what things mean to you and how much space you want them to take up in your life. You know, maybe the cool role a year ago now feels limiting. Maybe the fun team now feels stagnant. You are allowed to change your mind, and your loyalty needs to be to your growth and aligning with that, and not so much to impressing people. Remember, the same people you are trying to impress are also shifting their ideas and perceptions of what is impressive. And it's possible that one day, for whatever reason, that might not include you. Is your organization struggling to organize your approach to setting and achieving goals? At HKC, we support you to clarify and organize your business pathway so that you can accelerate the timeline towards your targets through leveling up key leadership behaviors, including operational planning. Visit our website for more. So, think before doing something just to impress others. When I reflect on the life change and the significance of this quote, as with all things, it's important to have balance, right? Impressing others based on values that align with you and the person you want to become is exemplary. It's inspiring to see people changing the game because it matters so deeply to them. And you can't fake that kind of passion, right? Personally, I had my light bulb moment when I realized that the definition of an impressive achievement by others didn't look impressive to me anymore. And that can also be a good sign to understand how your own vision for your career, team, business is changing and how you can begin to move more strategically and authentically towards your goals. Thanks for tuning in to the Compass Audiocast, where we bridge past, present, and positive for the future of work. Please like this post if you found it useful, share it with someone who may need to hear it, and subscribe if you want to be notified when our next one comes out. Let's work together on your personal career growth plan or your business planning and execution for more agility, results, and progress for the future of work. Leave me a comment to share what you've done at work or in your business to impress others and how it impacted you. Thanks, and I'll see you on the next one.